Greetings, you found my hike. Okay, I got a feeling maybe you've been on one of these before, so it's no big deal. You know what to do. You don't have to be here. You can stay anonymous. I like being anonymous. In fact, whenever I donate to a charity, I don't write my name down as the donator. I write anonymous because you know me. I don't need the attention. But whenever you see the name anonymous on the charity list, you know who it was. That's right. All right, man, let's tear up this canyon. Take your protein pills, pull up your Spanx, and why don't we go take a hike? Flanking my left shoulder today is someone I think is so creative, so funny, so smart. He has a couple of stand-up specials out right now. One is called My Girlfriend's Boyfriend. The other is what I should have said was nothing. He's a writer, director, producer, actor. He's done 2 of his own films, Sleepwalk With Me and Don't Think Twice. Both hilarious. So good and funny. Hilarious and funny. I'm excited about this hike. He's got a one-man show running that you've got to see. I saw it the other night. It's called The New One. So good, so funny. You'll love it. If I know you, you'll love it. That's right. Today we're hiking with Mr. Mike Birbiglia.
So this is sort of what happens in show business when things start going really well is you shoot in a canyon.
Yeah, specifically for sound. You know? I mean, listen to that wind. The mic. It sounds like a cough, doesn't it?
I feel like that's like the quintessential like phone call gone wrong with your parents. They're like, "How are things going out there? You got a talk show?" "Yeah, I got a talk show.
Yeah.
Big studio, Liza." "Well, it's in a canyon. I'm working."
Yeah, I'm getting some good guests. Birbiglia, who? Birbiglia.
You reversed the burn.
Yeah.
I insulted the talk show format. You reversed it and said, "You're nobody."
I came to see your one-man show, the new one, in Los Angeles a couple weeks ago, and you've been doing this for a while. You started in Broadway, right?
Off-Broadway. Before that I did 50 cities. So this is gonna be, these are the final 8 performances of about 500.
Wow.
This week is the final one, and then it's on Netflix for eternity as far as the contracts say.
Yeah, and that's the one that was shot on Broadway.
I was shot on Broadway.
That's nothing like the one you're doing now. It's been recasted.
It's the same show.
You're not even in it anymore.
Well, the Los Angeles Times reviewer reviewed the show a few weeks ago and said if it's a movie, it must star Paul Rudd. And I thought that was peculiar.
Paul Rudd to play you?
Yeah, because I'm an actor too.
Yeah.
I just performed a show for you. I performed it for you.
But I think he's right.
Well, he's
Paul Rudd.
he's phenomenal.
No.
Yeah, you want someone to really sell tickets. You can get
you've
yourself some Paul Rudd.
You've directed your own films and wrote them.
Yeah.
Sleepwalk With Me.
Yep.
Don't Think Twice. 2 great films, and you're great in them.
Thanks.
Why would he say, "I want Paul Rudd"?
I think that he maybe didn't see those movies. They're small movies.
Who do people say that you look like?
Paul Rudd. Paul Rudd. And in the show I reference, I say a cross between Matt Damon and Bill O'Reilly.
Yes, that was it.
It's not flattering. Well, it's flattering and then unflattering.
Yeah.
That was a thing that a friend said to me. "You look like a cross between Matt Damon and Bill O'Reilly." And I said, "Can I use that on stage? Because I want to try that."
Yeah.
But I think, and then it worked. And I kept it in the show. I think sometimes your friends can understand what's funny about you more than you.
Yeah.
And so they call something out, you go, yeah, let me try that.
Yeah. Is there any part of your act that you've written? Or is it
Yeah.
all your friends' dialogue? It amazes me sometimes how people remember jokes you've done like 15 years ago
Yeah,
that you've totally forgot about.
yeah.
And then you go, "Oh, that's a good joke. I did that. I'll put it back in my act." And then it turns out to be somebody else's joke.
That's really funny. I remember when I was an intern at Conan O'Brien when you came on as a guest in the 90s, like 97.
You did a lot of interning.
Yeah.
Weren't you also at Howard Stern?
No,
I thought you were.
that was Paul Rudd.
That was Paul Rudd, you're right. And Matt Damon.
Yeah. Bill O'Reilly.
And Bill O'Reilly.
And then I worked the door at the Washington, D.C. Improv, which you worked there before, and great club, and I sort of learned from watching these great comics come through every week, Kathleen Madigan, Margaret Cho, and Brian Regan, and Jake Johansson, all these people, and going like, wow, what luck I have to watch these people and then sort of like bug them for advice. Oh, really sweet.
I'll give you 200 for the dog right now.
No.
I was saying this to you backstage after my show the other night, but I knew you were in the audience, and I was thinking about how over the years, I feel like there's 10 or 15 comics who you admire the most, and you borrow certain cadences and things, but it's subconscious. But when the person's in the audience, you're like, oh, I'm actually doing Kevin Nealon right now. That's a little Kevin Nealon. I had that. Steve Martin was in the audience in New York once, and I had that thought the whole time.
Right.
Kathleen Madigan came once in the audience. I was thinking that same thing. Like, there's no getting around the fact that like you're some of your influences.
You're influenced by a lot of people in life, you know?
What's your favorite thing you've ever done in show business?
This is the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson.
That's funny.
The first time.
That's cool.
And I got panel.
Oh my
gosh. Just my dream came true.
Like he waved you over?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, really? My most memorable is when I did Letterman the first time.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, because that was my Johnny Carson of my
absolutely.
era, and I was like, it was one of those things where it's like, I've done a lot of cool things since then, but holy cow.
Yeah.
The idea that you get to shake hands with David Letterman, the guy you've been watching since you're like 11 years old, it's bananas.
Yeah.
You can't even believe it.
Yeah. You know, you said you were an intern on the Conan show. I mean, everybody has to start somewhere.
Yeah.
Unless you just come into town and you're a stand-up.
Yeah.
I came here with no act.
Yeah.
You know? So I got a job bartending at the Improv for 2 years.
Sure, yeah.
But everybody saw me as a bartender.
Yeah, of course.
And not a stand-up.
Oh my gosh.
Did you get that when you were an intern on Conan? People go, no, you're an intern.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then of course, like that doesn't end up being the place where I make my TV debut, which is what was my dream, was that, oh, I could be on Conan and I could do but it's like now the producers just view you as the guy who's grabbing Arnold Palmer's in the basement of Rock Center. You know, they don't view you as the funny guy, because you're not being funny, you're an intern.
I know.
You're just running around like.
But how lucky you were to have seen all the comics coming in there.
It's great.
And also at the DC Improv. Be around all like I was too, you know. I saw comics I watched on TV.
Oh yeah.
Before I came out here, I thought,
that's a similar experience. Like, cause being a bartender at the Improv, like you were, and being a door person like I was at the DC Improv, it's the same thing. It's like I was just lucky to watch these people for free.
Yeah.
Like I can't afford to go see Brian Regan. I can't afford to go, you know, see Margaret Cho. Like, this is crazy. And then, you know, it's a college. It's comedy college.
Totally. What would you have done if you didn't get into stand-up? Intern?
I would have been a permanent intern. I think I always wanted to do something in a creative field where I'm writing, because I've been writing since I was a kid. And stupid things, you know, I still have them, poems and jokes and plays and little things. And then I just thought, like, maybe I'll end up in advertising or something like that.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, you really?
Yeah, advertising.
And then when I was at the DC Improv, the turning point of realizing I was going to be a road comic was I saw the pay stubs of the comedian.
You did?
In the office, yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay, the MC makes a few $100 for the week. And
what was the biggest pay stub you saw?
Like $9,000.
Oh, you didn't see my pay stub. A lot of flies going around.
That's really. Well, you know, it's all the hairspray and chewing gum I put in my hair.
Do you get embarrassed easily?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, but the other side of that is that I embarrass myself so much on stage, and I admit these things that are so pathetic that, like, I'm also kind of like, yeah, it doesn't fucking matter. Like, nothing fucking matters. Like, one of my takeaways about being like a confessional comic is that, like, people think they're keeping things secret about themselves, but they're not. We all know your deal. You know what I mean? Like, like you think you're like cool with, you know, your fancy hat and your sunglasses. I know you're not cool. I know you get bronchitis twice a year.
I asked Lauren Michaels once about Bill Murray. I said, you know, he just kind of dresses cool. He looks kind of sloppy. And Lauren goes, oh, that's all thought out.
Oh, that's so funny.
It's all thought out and planned.
You were saying, like, you don't see me out at clubs. I'm not at clubs out here because I feel like this town is a bit of a fishbowl. And so if anyone can be in the audience, blah blah. I don't want them to see me like working out my new thing.
You don't,
because it's rough. You know, like my early drafts of things that I throw on stage, they're not done. I mean, I go through like.
But
I don't know.
Are bits ever done?
No, nothing's ever done.
Did you ever do a bit on a talk show thinking this is great, and then like within 3 months later it's a whole hunk?
Yeah. Totally.
And then the next time you try to do it, no, we did that already. Yeah, but I got more.
Well, yeah, and you have to stick to your story.
Yeah.
Well, because if it's a story, I'm a storyteller, and so
You're a great storyteller.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks. My relationship with this town is weird because I always wanted to have a sitcom, a la Seinfeld kind of thing, and then like 10 years ago, after being in the business, or 11 years ago after being in the business since I graduated in 2000, I got like a CBS pilot, and it was based on my life, and I was a comedian and all this stuff, and then it didn't get picked up. I went back home and I was so upset. I felt so hurt by the experience,
Rejected.
so judged and rejected and all this stuff that people often feel in this town for good reasons. And but my takeaway from it was, well, I have this show, Sleepwalk With Me, which I love and I'm passionate about.
Yeah.
I should just do that, but with the level of commitment and production value that Hollywood puts into their shows. And so I put it up off Broadway, and I convinced the producer that we should have this up, and it ran for 8 months, and Nathan Lane agreed to present it. And then it changed my whole life. And like I've just been in New York ever since doing these solo shows, and I really am. It was honestly like the best thing that ever happened to me.
What was the first concert you ever went to?
Billy Joel, Worcester
Nice.
Centrum.
Nice.
Yeah.
And were you happy with that?
Beyond elated.
Your one-man show that you're doing now, it's called The New One.
Yeah.
And this is a whole life change for you.
Yeah.
Because the new one is referring to the baby.
It is. Yeah.
Again, spoiler alert.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
But-
the new one, the new life, the new consciousness, and the new show. Yeah.
And it's not just about you anymore.
Yeah.
And your stand-up, although your life has not changed apparently since the baby.
It's changed a lot. But
How old is your son now?
my daughter.
I always get it wrong.
I
Whether
do
it's a
too.
dog
I
or
know.
a baby.
You swing one way or the other, and you're always wrong.
That's why I don't go to Vegas.
Yeah. That's why people go, how old is the baby now?
Yeah,
And you're like,
yeah.
well, she's 4.5, and I know what you're fucking doing.
How old's your little one?
Yeah, the little one. The little one's nice.
Your little guy.
The little one's
You're-
nice.
Okay,
how are
so
the little ones. How many of the little ones are there?
just the
How
one.
many is it? Yeah, just the one.
So now you're doing this whole different life now. You got
Yes.
a kid and you've been married for how long?
11 years.
11 years.
Yeah.
Wow. So was the plan not to have kids?
Yeah.
It was. Oh,
I always said, like, I'm never gonna have kids, and she said, I don't want to have kids now, but who knows?
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
The plan was never to have a wife.
Yeah,
And
it
I
was.
got a wife.
Yes, it was. I mean, that's what my girlfriend's boyfriend was one of my specials, and it was all about how I never wanted to get married, and I got married, and sort of how that transition in life occurred based on. It was a series of events where I was hit by a drunk driver in Los Angeles. That's why I don't drive here anymore.
You've had like a lot of ailments.
Yeah,
the last
I've had
couple
a lot of
years.
weird
You even
things,
say
yeah.
that in your show.
Yeah.
I mean, you dealt with some serious diseases. And
Well, I had cancer.
is there anything I could catch from you right now?
I don't know. I don't think so. Maybe bronchitis.
Okay.
I had Lyme. I
had
had type 2
Lyme
diabetes,
disease?
but I reversed it.
You reversed the diabetes?
Yeah, check it out.
You're like a
30
super-
pounds.
Wow.
I lost 30 pounds.
I didn't realize you were that heavy.
I know, me neither.
Did you go on some kind of a diet? Or
I did,
just
yeah. Essentially, just honestly, like it's just less food.
smaller portions?
Yeah, smaller
Don't
portions.
eat late at night?
Yeah, don't eat late at night, and I'm just aware of what I'm eating. I would describe my diet. I've never described it this way, but it's like don't eat 85 pretzels.
Or a whole box of wheat
Yeah.
thins.
That's honestly like that's my Achilles heel is I get a huge amount
I know,
of food,
me too.
and then I just fucking eat the whole thing, and then it's like, well, that's how you gain 10 pounds.
Do
It's
you
all.
have a disorder that covers everything? Is there a title? Is it like
It's Mike Birbiglia.
Mike Birbiglia?
I have Mike Birbiglia disease.
Oh, you got Birbiglia.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sorry.
I think I was just so wound up in like, go, 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 I gotta write the next show, I gotta do the next special, you know, and then, you know, when I was in Trainwreck, I played Brie Larson's husband, and I'm kind of the person who Amy looks at her sister, Brie Larson's character, and sort of, oh, she's settled in life for him. And,
That's
you know,
right. That's right.
And it is, and like, you know, Amy would make jokes. She'd improvise jokes about me being a loser on camera, and then I'd come home from work and I'd go like to my wife, like, I think I might be a loser. Like these jokes that Amy's improvising, they're not that different from who Mike Birbiglia is.
Your wife Jen must be very patient.
She's a very patient person, yeah.
Because you got a lot of baggage, so to speak, as far as internal.
Well,
you know.
yeah, I shop at luggage stores regularly. And
What is your vice?
I just work myself past the point of exhaustion.
You're workaholic.
And it can be dangerous because I end up being sleep deprived, and sleep deprivation is correlated with what my disorder is. The sleepwalking is it's a huge part of my life.
What's the furthest you've gone, like walking?
Well, the most extreme is I depict in Sleepwalk With Me. I jumped through a second-story window, and then the most.
When did you wake up? As you were jumping through the window?
No. So I jump through the window, the second-story window of La Quinta Inn in Walla Walla, Washington. I land. I get up. And I keep running, and I'm slowly realizing I'm on the front lawn of La Quinta Inn in Walla Walla, Washington, in my underwear, bleeding. And I'm like, oh no, and I swear to God, the dream was that I had there was a guided missile headed towards me. I swear to God, in that moment, I thought, at least I didn't get hit by the missile. I was relieved. As you see in the show, I sleep in like a sleep sheet that's like fitted, and then there's a hole for my head, and that's real.
You have to sleep like in a sleeping bag.
Yeah.
So that you don't go walking.
Yeah, that's right.
And it's got a lock on it or no?
No, it's tied under the bed. It's with a clasp, like a camping clasp. I do
like...
a lot of work. I go to REI a lot.
That's where you get all your sleep stuff?
Yeah.
Are you sleepwalking now, or are you awake? Thank you, Birbiglia. That's the nickname, Birbiglia. I love it. I don't have a name that could be a nickname. Honestly, I don't know if he was awake on this hike or sleepwalking. I mean, he seemed awake because he was funny and energetic, but you know, he's got that sleepwalking thing. Who knows? Thanks for joining my hike. Please subscribe, turn on notifications, that little bell so you don't miss any hikes, and we'll catch you another time. Happy trails.
My sleep doctor, I go, hey, I don't really want to take this drug. Is it possible that I could not take it? And he goes, Mike, you jumped through a window. I don't know what to tell you. You're kind of painted in a corner on this one.